Hear me out on this. The first 5 days of creation, God created, He created everything that was needed to be created in the first 5 days of creation. Then on the sixth day, He created man, right? I want you to understand something. Everything on earth that's created today was created in the first 5 days. How do you know? There was no cars in, there was no, but no, everything needed to create those things were created in those first 5 days. God finished the work. Everything was created there. Then He created me and you in that reality. Then on the seventh day, we rested, meaning we're living as a new covenant believer. We're living from resting, and we're living from rest, not towards rest. See why we're living from it? Because God completed it. He placed you in it, and now we're discovering what we're in, and we're learning to live from the place of completion, because the work has been finished. Jesus even said it when He come on earth and He died on the cross. He said the greatest prophetic word in the history of mankind: it is finished. He spoke in agreement to only what His Father was speaking, right? So I want to encourage you. You are doing the exact same thing. Everything is completed. Everything is finished, right? We're living from the finished work. Now check this out. I want you to understand this concept. Why is it so important that we work in the mindset, in the imagination, in the thoughts, in the ideas and perspectives? Because we're learning to give it a reference point. And see, the Spirit of God is our reference point. So we're renewing our mind. Be renewed. Renewed to the spirit of your mind, the reference point of your mind. So we're learning to come into agreement to the finished work. Now listen, do you realize that everything created on earth has already been provided by God in the first 5 days? He finished it. Now we come into that kiss of agreement of agreeing with that and realizing that, and we only speak from that place. So what happens is this. Do you realize that everything created from that day forth, because me and you were created to be creators, right, in Christ, have come from God's desire? It says, Psalms 37:4, God gives us the desires of our heart. Meaning the desire in your heart has come from God. Now, sin-conscious mind will say, no, it doesn't. It could be a wicked. Now, that's because the mind still has a reference point to sin consciousness. But now align your mind to your right mind, and you'll be like, wow, this whole time, God has been protecting me, helping me, providing for me, giving me certain desires that I actually walk out those things, and things happen and come together for me. See, the idea is this, guys. Your imagination is the birthing place. 1 Peter 1:13. It says this. It says, gird up the loins of your mind. Gird means to discipline. Loins in American cultures, like the proactive, life-giving place. It's the place where life comes from, right? So we're girding up, we're disciplining the proactive, life-giving force of our mind. Well, what is the life-giving force? It's the Spirit of God. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind, the life-giving force. So we're disciplining our senses, our feelings, and our emotions to align with the life-giving force, right? That gives birth from the mind. Do you understand that somebody looked at a tree that God made? One person looks at it and goes, wow, that's a beautiful tree. Another person looked at the tree and says, wow, we could create a house. We could create shelter. Let's do this. And so they created shelter from it, right? Where did it come from? It come from their imagination. Everything created on earth come from your imagination. So what I'm doing is I'm teaching you how to use and exercise practically your mind, your thoughts, your ideas, your imagination to come into alignment with the Spirit of God, who's the creator in you. And when the creator and the created come into a kiss of agreement, something special happens, guys. This is where things manifest. This is where things come to pass and flourishing in your life. And we're training our mind to come into a spiritual connection, right? And the two become one. When the flesh and the spirit become one new man, we walk out the realities of God every single day of our life.